but there's a common thread. And it is that, like, what I love about working with folks to tell their story is I'm like, look, you're given this life. And I get deep with it, Percy.
Oh, well,
it's real.
Let's get deep.
Like, I'm like, you're given this life and you're given this time, and God has given you this experience, right? And this is what you're choosing to do with your time. This has to be passion foundation.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be something. So let's find what that passion is that drove you to do the scariest thing in the world, start a business. Yeah. And let's tell people about it, because that's how people are going to connect with you. And I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Welcome to me casa, make yourself at home, do your do. Welcome to my pad, this your lab, go create your move.
This episode is brought to you by Subway. What's good, everybody? It's 99 Miles Per Hour podcast with me, your host, Percy Garner. And man, I got someone in that I just, it took forever to start the show because we were just talking about everything. So, but before I get to our guest, I just want to, because it's been a while. I feel like, this snow has really messed up everything, which has nothing to do with recording a podcast, but I use it as an excuse to not come in here. But anyways, let's go. Yeah. So, let's just start off with saying thank you to Subway and the Fitzgerald family for making this podcast possible. You are the greatest. You are the best. We love you. You're great to the community. And we look forward to hopefully another partnership, extend that contract. No, I'm joking. I'm messing around. But seriously, thank you guys. And yeah, we have some things that I haven't mentioned in a while. Make sure you subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that stuff. Do all that because we're still not at our goal. Help us get there, please. And then also go buy some merch, store.percygarner.com, to help a high school kid get to college. Well, not get to college, but help them buy their books or just get a scholarship. Appreciate it if you would do that for me. Store.percygarner.com. And yeah. I think that's about good. Oh, yeah, there's something coming up. Oh, yeah, March 6th, Rainbow Connection Telethon. Be there, be square. Actually, don't come, go online and buy an auction item or call us and, give a little pledge, give a little money to us because we give back to the community. All the money stays in Tuscarawas County. Today's best thing I'm doing today is I'm not going to smack my tongue in the mic. Okay. Let's get going. So our guest today, you guys all how I love to do introductions. This one's going to be difficult. So we have agreed to just say one simple phrase to explain how successful she is. But without further ado, we have the complicated professional, Michaela Madison.
I need a t-shirt for sure.
Yes, we're making one from now on. But yeah, I just want to name all the stuff you do. You're a marketing specialist, business consultant, mother, and you also help Rainbow Connection get our stuff together. Mm-hmm. So thank you for everything you do for us. Even though technically you probably shouldn't be helping us, but you do. You risk your life to help Rainbow Connection.
You know what? I do what I have to do for in the name that is right.
Yes, I like it. And you're going to have your own show here soon too. So we need to get back to it. But I want to talk about, what most people probably know you for, and that's Newsy Mom. You started that from scratch, which I've always been afraid to do something like that. Even I can't even draw anything. I'm afraid to draw something from scratch on paper. So the fact that you have built a business or organization, you want to call it, that's pretty incredible.
It's complicated too.
Yeah. It's all complicated.
It's all pretty complicated.
But I guess just tell us about everything that's going on in your life, because there's a few things you got going on.
Yeah. I mean, well, with Newsy Mom, it was really inspired by becoming a mom. I mean, that's really where my life kind of 180'd. And, I've always been my background's in journalism, served as a local news reporter. And I really do believe that is a service. Mm-hmm. So I use that term carefully, serving the community to keep them informed, let them know what's happening in an objective way.
Yeah.
So I really take that seriously. And then I became a mom, and I was like, whoa, what just happened? This is like the world just completely changed. My perspective completely changed. And I can't sing. I can't dance. I try.
Do you do it in the shower?
I do it in the car, and somehow my fiance is still going to marry me. because I'm not good at it. But what I've always been really kind of just a God-given talent for me is just communicating. Like I've always been a talker. I'm not shy.
That's why we got you on here.
I love talking. I love meeting new people. I love hearing stories and I love sharing stories. And that's why I fell just absolutely in love with journalism and being a writer and just something I found an outlet in. And then when I became a mom, I was like, hey, this is how I can give back. I'm a writer. I can call people and be like, hey, how do you help people? And can I put it on my website to help more people? And it just kind of blossomed and domino effect, and it was incredible. We started adding team members, and that's when it just took shape. Like I was like, well, how do I know if I have a really bad idea? Like if it's just me running this whole thing, like who's going to be like, Michaela, that idea really sucks, you know? So that was kind of truthfully.
That's what Josh is for me.
It's really truthfully, like when I realized I needed a team and when I started pulling people in that brought, you know, sets of strengths that I didn't possess, like, 'cause I think that's what makes a good team. And Josh and I were just talking about that, you know, surround yourself by people who bring something to the table that you don't. And when I started doing that, Newsy Mom just became, and it was amazing. And it was all inspired by having my daughter Remy, who's now almost 6 years old.
I like that name.
Yeah.
So you're 6 years. Wait, how many years?
Newsy Mom in August, this past August, just celebrated 5 years.
Okay.
So it is literally as old as my first child.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many years do you have between your children?
5. So I have
6 years in between mine.
Yep. So my youngest Kimmy is 8 months. She'll almost 8 months next week.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's what's up. And then you just, you know, you got a couple other things going on.
Yeah. Do you want me to, how much time do we have? Do you want to just start rattling things off rapid fire? No, I mean, I think that it was all, I do a lot of different things, but honestly, it's driven by a passion to tap into people's passion, if that makes sense. Like, I serve as director of community engagement for the Stark County Sheriff's Office. I just have an absolute respect for law enforcement. But I love the idea of being able to be in there to say, but how do we serve the entire community? Because there is a disconnect. And I think everybody knows that there is. And I feel like I'm blessed to be in a position where I bring a different perspective into the law enforcement side of things. And I'm like, you know, let's talk about this. Like, I think there's a disconnect. Let's talk to people and communicate what we're doing and kind of be that vehicle. I take that very seriously. And I'm also the Small Business Development Center. I would be crazy not to mention them because they're literally a hidden gem, and they're right over at the Talati building over at Kent State University at Tuscarawas.
Beautiful building.
Yeah. And I'm a marketing consultant for them. So I work with small businesses, small organizations, to basically get them marketing guidance, and it's free. Yeah, that's for real.
That was the greatest thing when you said
completely free. And I do freelance, you know, helping out folks, mostly nonprofit service based, with their social media and kind of doing all those different things. But like I said, it's a lot, but there's a common thread. And it is that, like, what I love about working with folks to tell their story is I'm like, look, you're given this life. And I get deep with it, Percy.
Oh, well,
it's real.
Let's get deep.
Like, I'm like, you're given this life and you're given this time, and God has given you this experience, right? And this is what you're choosing to do with your time. This has to be passion foundation.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be something. So let's find what that passion is that drove you to do the scariest thing in the world, start a business. And let's tell people about it, because that's how people are going to connect with you. And I just find it fascinating. So,
well, I find, you know, everything you do, just because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like, oh yeah, social media, you know, I'm in my 30s. I know how to do that stuff. But I was completely wrong. And, you know, doing it for, you know, your personal, for yourself is a little bit different, obviously. And I knew that was what I was undertaking. But then you showed me that, you know, it's not just social media. There's a lot of stuff that goes into communicating your, you know, your brand and what you want to represent to your community. And, you know, obviously the backbone for Rainbow Connection was amazing. And, you know, but it's just all the new avenues we have. You know, it's pretty amazing. You know, before we just had like billboards, radio, TV, and now there's just I never knew that social media was going to be this big, and all the techniques you brought, like I was just like, because I remember the first time we talked, you're like, oh yeah, just post every day, do this, maybe post twice sometimes, and also make sure you release these press releases to all the newspapers.
We're not calling her back.
I was just like,
we're not talking
how do I do all this? How do I think of all this stuff? And then when the next call, you just laid it all out. I was like, what?
Checklist. Yeah.
I was like, how does she do all that? When you first said that to us, I was just like, man, this is amazing. And you were just like, oh yeah, that's what I do, And I was just like, this is, you've helped us.
I practiced that in the mirror before I have a call.
Well, it worked. You did. Practice makes perfect. Good. But from my standpoint, though, looking at what you do is it's kind of inspired me, like. In a different, I guess, avenue is still communicating. Still communicating.
You're commuting messages.
Look at that. She. That's why she needs her own show. But communicating, because I feel like I'm strong in that area as well, and usually mine's on a social, like a social standpoint, a social space. But it takes a different type of art, and the corporate or professional area, and you might not be comfortable with me saying this, but because everyone, my guests are like, no, don't. But I feel like you've mastered that. And obviously it's shown because, people use you a lot to help them communicate what they're trying to their audience or to their county or, to their customers. So that's why I was like, I got to get Michaela on. I feel like I had you on here, but I guess I just made that all up.
I have to. You did make it completely up, Percy. But one thing I have to say about the term mastering something, and here's what I think the trick is: a true master of anything realizes they're not a master, because there's no cap to education. There's no time where you say, "Oh, I learned everything. I'm good. You guys call me if you need anything. I'll be here." That doesn't exist. So like a true master is someone who is humbled by the fact that they'll never know it all. And so we're always sponges and we just want to learn and we want to listen. Just because we have experience in a specific area, it doesn't mean that we have to do all the talking. Otherwise, you're not a master, and your success is going to end where it is right now. You have to be open to listening all the time, and you have to be open to learning and hearing. Like I said earlier, you can only think what's in your head. Yeah. You can only think like Percy Gardner. So your ideas are going to be limited unless you expand that and you listen to others. So.
Yeah. See, and that's where the team aspect comes in. And I've been used to teams my whole life, and I never thought of the business world as that, but it is. Oh, it is. And I love that. That's because I'm like, oh, well, the same thing applies. I know we're not in the locker room and I got to, talk a little different, but we can't say the same things in the same locker room. But I think it's, especially for this area, like to have someone like yourself, because there's not this area isn't just flooding with a lot of people like yourself. So I think to have, for you to give your, knowledge and everything that you learned to organizations like the Rainbow Connection.
I love Tuscarawas County. Yeah, I do.
I don't know why we love it. No, I'm joking.
No, I mean,
it's amazing.
It really is. And it's just when you're born here, or even if you've decided to move here, once you set your roots, there's just, and I haven't traveled like you have. Like you've been at places, and I've been in some, enough to carry on some cultured conversation. Nothing fancy though. But I think that there's just, and I don't actually currently live in Tuscarawas County, but I tell everybody, you're not getting rid of me. I'm going to keep coming back. So
I like it. I like it. I mean, that was my goal. So I know for a fact for me, the thing that when I traveled, yes, I traveled a lot, but I played minor league baseball. So I saw some places that were not that great too. So it reminded me wow, Tuscarawas County is amazing. And I need to, obviously a great place to raise a family, all that stuff. And that was one thing I did once I got to Rainbow Connection. I just held everyone hostage and put a camera in their face. And I was like, tell me why you love Tuscarawas County and the Rainbow Connection. And it was pretty easy for people to come up with that answer. Yeah. So it was, but I want to get back to, basically the stuff I'm trying to learn. Cause I always say this, I use this channel, in this podcast and this show as a learning tool for the audience. No, me, but,
that's okay. I make friends leaning on Newsy Mom. If I meet a mom that I'm like, I really want to be her friend. But it's really awkward in adulthood to be like, hey, you got kids, I got kids, we should hang out. So I'm like, have you ever heard of Newsy Mom? And I totally use it as a crutch to like meet and hang out with cool people.
I think that's fine.
I think it is.
It's totally acceptable.
Yeah,
that's what I do with this show too. So some people think I'm cool, but most people, you know, when I do a solo show, it doesn't get half as many views as I do when I have a guest. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to have, people that can bring value to the audience as well. And you're definitely one of those people.
I appreciate that.
Now, I know we talked a little bit about building Newsy Mom and why you did it, but like, what did you learn besides like, okay, surround myself with people who, you know, obviously think different than me, and I can learn from them and we can work together as a team. And that's kind of, you know, you need that. You need to cooperate and build team with different strengths. And that's how you get a great team. But like, you were just like, you know what? Let me just build a business and then we'll just do it and it'll be great. And then now I'll just basically build another business and I'll be consultant and I'll do all this stuff. And like, is there something you're just like, you know what? I'm never satisfied. I want to do more for people in the community. Mm-hmm. Is that just how you think? Or
I would say I'm an opportunist. So like I have a really hard time walking away of what could be a great opportunity. Yeah. You know, so like if I meet somebody and I'm like, and they're like, hey, you know, we should just have this conversation and see where it goes. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I probably am really super busy, but I cannot say no. And I value that. And of course I prioritize in finding balance to continue to keep my family at the forefront. Mm-hmm. And my daughters and not miss anything with them is always a priority. But I would say I just followed opportunity as it came organically when I met someone and just went and see what happened.
Well, I think it takes someone who can focus. Cause you know, for me, I don't say no either, but it's not always the best situation because I'm just like, I'm a man for one. And I'm just like,
I only laugh. How do I explain that? I don't understand at all what you mean, Percy. Totally alien.
Yeah, because you know your fiance, he's perfect in every way.
Super great multitasker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love you, honey. I do. And you're really good at some things, multitasking.
No, Josh, you good multitasker? Oh wow!
Yes.
He says yes. He definitely said no. They don't know. They didn't see him. No,
his wife isn't in the room.
True. She would tell the truth.
You want a true fact, you got to go straight to the source.
That is true. Oh, and I still haven't done the poll of your door. We got to ask Michaela. We need to know what color his door is because I don't think my wife is on his side too. But anyway, that's what I talked about me going on the sidebar. Okay. Anyway, I want to kind of hear because you say you're a mom, but you're also a pig mom. So
people are like, what?
What you think you live on a farm or what?
Oh, okay. I do.
That was a little quote from Nelly back in the day. But tell us about that because that's just I've been speaking to you. You know, we went to the Big Brothers Big Sisters Gala.
I serve on the board for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Well, look at that. Mm-hmm. So
they're an amazing organization.
Yes, that's what I hear. You know, I spent way too much money at that gala. Is it gala or gala?
I say gala.
Okay, good. We'll keep going on gala then. If I have another guest that says gala, then I'll just adapt.
Yes. Good job.
But I just like when I'm looking and I'm like, wow. Every little thing you're like, oh yeah, well I do this and I do this and I do this, and I'm just like, that's just crazy. And then you're like, yeah, I'm a pig mom.
Yeah, so I think honestly that's rooted in growing up in Tuscarawas County, kind of. Not that I had pigs or grew up on a farm. It's completely unrelated, but I gotta love the outdoors. So like living in Tuscarawas County, and I'm sorry if there are folks who don't enjoy the outdoors and you live in Tuscarawas County because we still love you, Percy. Okay, but I think at least in my childhood, some of the best moments were going down to the river and fishing with my dad or going out on the lake, and just being crazy and jumping off a boat, and then things are like hiking in the woods or like I can remember as a kid growing up, I actually grew up part of my childhood in Midvale. Okay. And I can remember there used to be a big hill behind our house and we used to just go sled riding in the middle of the summer because it was grassy and like get completely like splintered up and dirty and play in the woods and climb trees. And that's just how I grew up. And so when I met my fiance actually down here and we were looking to buy a house, his grandmother was at the point where she was going to sell her home, and we had to keep it in the family, you know? And so we had an amazing opportunity that is just, we're so blessed by, to buy her home in 20 acres. It was sad because it was in Ashland County, but you know, like I said, I still come back. And then once we had all this space, I was like, well, I need a pig and like, I need a goat and ducks and chickens, and we have to have rabbits, and we have to have dogs. And so we got them all, and none of them are actual farming. Like, we don't eat any of my animals.
Do you have a napping goat? Is that a thing?
Are those the ones that fall over?
Yeah.
No, but I want one, and I've talked to Aaron. We have boar goats, like boar goats that are actually sold at the fair for meat goats.
Oh, okay.
But we have 3 of them, and they are my friends. Like, you cannot eat them. Like, I actually had to have a conversation with my neighbor to say, I know people too. Like, I know humans, because I'll go out and I'm like, hey guys, did you sleep well? You know, you doing okay? And the pigs were a total random buy. I tricked Aaron into taking a trip to the Columbus Zoo instead of Cleveland one year. And then I was like, we got to make a side stop little thing over here. And I put 2 little baby pigs in the back of our CRV and drove home. And yeah, I mean, but I wanted my daughters to have kind of this experience to live out in the country. And yeah, I know technology is part of our lives today, but I want my kids to go play. And when I say that not mean necessarily pick up a video game controller, and that's okay, but I want there to be a balance and go play outside. And well, what am I going to do? I don't know.
Figure it out. Yeah, that's what we did.
Have fun.
That's what we did back in the day. Can we say back in the day?
No, I don't want to. We're not saying that.
But I mean, I did the same thing. Grew up. I was literally 100 feet from a river, so I could just go down the street and fish. Yeah. But as much as I love computers and technology and being in my little space with all my screens and stuff, I didn't grow up like that. I had a Sega and Nintendo and stuff, but I wasn't in there all hours of the day. We were Sega out doing stuff.
Sega and Nintendo are completely different.
They don't count.
And I, to this day, at 32 years old, can still probably never beat the Lion King Sega game where the Stampede gets me. And I did not have an issue with that. Like, I'm in therapy, maybe. But like,
so we both need it for Reese Cups. Okay.
Lion King the live version of Lion King brought back harsh memories, right?
Yeah, that was.
And it wasn't even because Mufasa died. Sorry, spoiler alert. But if you don't know, you're probably
from
late to the game.
1994. Yeah. I think that's when it released.
Something like that. Yeah.
Josh is like, yeah. Did you look it up real quick? Google fingers?
Google fingers.
Okay. But okay, so before because we're getting we're gonna have to have you back. But I wanted to talk about, obviously you do a lot for the community. You basically help people talk about what they don't feel like they can without you. But I wanted to, you were a journalist, and you were on the radio, and just quickly sort of.
Okay, I'll do my. Listen, I was on the radio, so I get time limits. Okay, so I'm ready. Okay.
5 minutes. No,
okay, that's a lot of time. You know how much I can talk about in 5 minutes? Radio was. I started at WTUZ. Actually, when I was 19. So I graduated high school, and I have always loved writing. And I just found a love for it as a kid. And I was like, man, I want to make money as a writer, but I don't want to be a starving author and like live in my mom's basement forever. So I went to the radio station, and it was when Ed Shoemaker was still with us. And I went in and I was like, hey, here's a report I wrote like last week as a senior at Indian Valley, and it's cool, right? Like, what do you think? And I didn't get a call back, and they just walked away. And I actually became a waitress, and I'm terrible at it. I'm not a good waitress because I like to talk to people, and then I forget to put tickets in, and someone doesn't get their food, and then we're not friends anymore, and they leave, and I lose my job. So when I realized that wasn't for me, I went back to the station, and I was like, hey, so like, remember that time? And by the grace of God, they were like, you know what? Yeah. Come in and do afternoon news for us, 19-year-old Michaela, who can't pronounce like any of the actual legislators' names at the time, and we'll just wing it. And they gave me the grace to grow, and nice. I truly appreciate the folks there and Ed for seeing an opportunity, taking a chance, God taking a chance, and so then that grew, and I ended up working in McCanton Market for a while, and just kind of got into news for a little bit in radio and talk show host. And I actually I went back to TUZ for another stint. And
missed it like LeBron coming back to Cleveland.
I took my talents to Canton for a while.
They're back there now too, though.
What's that?
I said they're back in Canton, Stark County, I guess I should say.
Yeah. Well, Ashland County. I'm working on it.
Okay.
But no, so I went back and I did the morning show there for TUZ again for about probably a year and a half, 2 years. And I still do stuff with them. We have a segment with them through Newsy Mom. So
nice.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad, and I say this a lot on the show too, that Josh, made me start this podcast, because I don't really have your personality where you're just like, hey, this would be cool. Let's do it. I'm like, this would be cool. I need to make sure that I have everything perfectly set up, which will never happen, before I start doing this cool idea. And then, it never happens.
I don't think failure is a thing. I really don't. Yeah. And I have and I'm a type A personality who feels like I always have to be like a 10, right? So that's hard for me to say, but I feel like failure is just a word that, because we feel like we have to label things in our society, and that's, well, it didn't work out, so clearly that's called failure. No, it's a learning experience, and what did you take from it? Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds super cheesy. You never fail. It's fine. Blue ribbon for you because you did great. But I think that it's true. Like if something doesn't work out, you're a step closer to it working out. Just figure it out what that step is, and don't do the thing that screwed up again.
Well, we've been at that step for 72 episodes. No, I'm just
He's like, do I laugh at this, or I don't know?
No, he's just delayed because he can hear us after about 2 seconds or something. Because Josh is very talented, and this is like, me, I would do the long way, where I would record everything and put all the cards in my computer from like 4 different cameras and then mix it all together, and it'd take 8 hours. He does it in real time.
That's
so
impressive.
Multi-talented, but don't let him know that. I think he's talented.
Did I turn the mic off?
But this has been a pleasure having you on the show. We're not done yet, because you know what? I haven't done this in a long time, and I think you'd be perfect for this.
Okay. Uh-oh. Is there like, you're not going to drop a bucket of water on my head, or?
No, someone comes in with a super soaker. No,
because you have to be targeted so we don't mess up the equipment. I understand.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
No, but obviously I think you're very interesting. You got a lot of talents and you share them. And I think that's amazing, because that's, I only have, a few, and some of them I can't share.
Play baseball. I mean, I played softball.
Okay.
I did that. Game on, Percy Gardner. Okay,
how did we do that? Because I can't hit. So.
Well, I can't either. It's been a while. But
so good. We can't test it out.
I had my day. No, if we could, I would win.
Yeah, me and my wife were supposed to be testing out because she didn't believe I can high jump, and I'm trying to tell her, hey. In elementary school, 4th, 5th grade, I was doing my thing. Ask Miss Tally.
Sure, I was taller than like everybody else in my class, and so it's fine. But
she's just like, your butt's too big. I just don't think you can. I'm like, I'm flexible. Anyway, without that sidebar. Oh, congratulations to Coach Von Kittle for 700 wins.
Wow.
Supposed to say at the beginning of the show, but hey, it's
you know what
good.
though? It went naturally.
Exactly.
Where it fit in.
Exactly, but that was a great experience.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll have to try to get him on here. I don't think that's a real thing. Him and Coach Ift, I don't think they would come on the show. They're not talkers. Well, they are, but anyways. So let's get back to what I want to do with Michaela.
Uh-oh.
So I don't even know what we call this.
Do I have to sign a waiver?
No.
I just want to make sure I'm prepared. I didn't bring a pen.
No. It's we just do some. So let me tell you a quick backstory. So I fell in love with this concept because there's 2 things. My first year in pro baseball in 2010, I played for the Williamsport Crosscutters.
Yeah, I know exactly who they are.
I love God. But they had this like fast 5 questions, and you have to do it in front of the fans before the game.
Uh-oh.
So you're this. I wasn't shy, but your first year in pro ball, you're like, oh my God, I got to go out in front of like 5,000 people, and this is scary. So I get out there, and they're asking me, these fast questions, and they're ripping them off, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I came up, they're like, what's your favorite food? And I'm like, bread. Everybody's like, what? I was like,
He doesn't like bread, though. I mean, you just made yourself relatable to 5,000 people. Is what you did with bread.
Exactly. But I just was like, this is awesome. I don't want to do it all the time, but this is awesome. And then at ComDoc, when I got hired there, you had to sit in the seat, and they called it the hot seat, and everyone on the sales team got to ask you a question, and you had to answer it, quickly. I was like, I like this. So I tried to come up with a coin a name for the show, 99, Fast 9. But then I would ask 11 questions or 6, and we still call it the Fast 9. So the Fast 9 with Michaela Madison.
You know what? I just got a call. Gotta take this.
I don't believe you.
On my iWatch.
Apple Watch.
I know that it's an Apple Watch, everyone. It's a whole thing. I didn't know, but I do now.
She does. She's educated. Like you said, you never could be too educated. But anyway.
Okay.
So let's do Fast 9, and I'm not prepared. So let's think of these questions. Okay. Favorite black actor? No, I'm joking.
Percy Gardner. Was that good? I'm ready.
And that was the question I always ask the comm doc. And everybody's like, oh, we're uncomfortable race. Why are you talking about that? Don't do that in the workplace. But
light skin or dark skin? Because that's different, Percy.
Different.
Okay?
It is different. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
We'll do favorite actor.
Favorite actor.
Mm-hmm. That is male. I mean, we allowed to say that?
Gerard Butler, because he has a sexy accent. I'm going there. I'm sorry. I don't care if his movies are good or not.
I watched P.S. I Love You by myself, and I cried.
Okay, any guy who can do like I Am Sparta and then jump over to P.S. I Love You, like I love you. Sorry, Aaron, I love you. Good, but he knows that already.
So who's your celebrity? No,
we have an arrangement. Jennifer Aniston shows up. I know what's going on too, so it's fine.
That's awesome. I have actually a friend that literally would speak to her in like normal conversation. Because his dad was
Don't ever tell Aaron that, because then I won't be getting married in August, probably. I won't set it up.
But, okay, we got that.
Okay.
Favorite book?
Oh.
Mine is Holes.
You know what? I can't remember the name. It's, okay, so I cannot remember the name of it.
Okay.
I think it was called Somebody. Can I tell a story about it quickly?
Sure.
Okay.
This is
totally what you meant by Fast 9. Well, the reason I have to tell you, I attended a church service at New Point probably, 15 years ago.
Dang.
Okay. And I was just looking around. I wanted to try to be super cultured. I'm gonna start reading, And this book was called Somebody, and it was the story about it was nobody. It's the story of nobody who lived in a town of nowhere, and he was going somewhere to become somebody. And those were your main elements. And it was this whole story about.
Okay, I might have to.
It was amazing. I think it's called Somebody or called Nobody.
Add somebody to my read list.
Who would you like to add? Is what it's gonna say.
You just. Anyways. Yeah. I watched this podcast, and they literally did. They were trying to ask what a celebrity crush was, and the Chad Johnson called his wife, and she said him, and he had already said a celebrity, and he was just like, "You ruined everything." Oh. Now I'm a bad husband. No. But
this is not Fast 9.
No, it's not. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Best advice you've ever received?
Oh, crap. I'm not good at this at all. I'm too much of a thinker. Best advice I've ever received would be, actually, can I steal one from Selena Gomez?
Yes.
Is that totally cheesy? Because
Yeah.
I saw this on a TikTok recently, and it's basically, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
Ooh, okay. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I like it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I must be in the wrong room here.
I don't necessarily favor her taste in men, Justin Bieber, but she gave great advice.
Gotcha. I like it. Okay. Favorite
I'm nervous.
child? No, I'm joking.
The one that sleeps.
Let's do favorite movie.
Favorite movie? Armageddon.
Ooh, okay.
I know it's super old school, but there's just leaving on a jet plane.
Josh is like, yeah, thumbs up.
Great movie.
How about I literally just had it in my head, and now it's just escaped me.
It was my beautiful singing voice.
It was.
Threw you off.
Bring come back to me.
Happens all the time.
Let's do favorite car. Dream car.
Dream car.
Yes.
Truthfully, a white Jeep.
There's different types of
I know,
Jeeps.
but like the rugged, that's all I got. The
Wrangler?
like a Wrangler.
Cherokee? Wrangler.
But like with the soft top that you unzip, but it has to be white. I actually am talking myself off the ledge because I need a new vehicle, and I'm like, I want the white Jeep, but I really need third row.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll be the 70-year-old with my hair blowing in the wind in my white Jeep one day.
White Bronco?
What?
OJ? No, I'm joking. I'm done. Let's go.
I love orange juice with my breakfast. Thank you
exactly.
asking.
How many is that? 5? Let's do favorite athlete.
Favorite athlete? I don't know. Percy Gardner.
Hey, my armpits are sweaty. Yeah, let's go. See, Tiffany Fox, someone knows what they're doing on this show. No,
I know Tiffany.
Do you?
Her sister, I think they're half sisters. Tamika Jones is one of our board members for Newsy Mom.
Really? Okay, I just
Fun
learned
fact.
something about Tiff.
Fun fact: we love Tiffany. She's incredible.
Yeah, she is the best.
Yeah.
She is the best. Except she didn't know an athlete to name.
Oh man.
I was expecting her to just say Michael Jordan or something. Then she just said no one, and I'm like, all right, we'll say that's 7, so we
Okay.
can get 2 out of here.
Okay.
Get you out of here. Get 2 out of here. What do I want to do?
I'll hang out all day. I'm fine.
Yeah, this is fun.
I already fed the pigs. They're fine.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and my children. Checked all the boxes today. We're good.
Fed my pigs.
And my,
Oh, yeah, my kids
and my
too.
kids
Fed
too.
them.
They're good.
How about this? Favorite social media platform?
Facebook.
Okay.
That's
that
the
was,
easy
That
one.
was fast.
That's the easy
That
one.
was fast.
That was
Is
the
it
only
still called
fast one.
Facebook?
The platform is.
Okay, it's not called Meta.
It will one day be the metaverse.
Oh, goodness
favorite.
gracious. Okay, last one. This is a good one. I like this one.
Okay.
One person you can have dinner with or lunch, a meal with, dead or alive.
It has to
They'll be alive with you at the dinner.
because it would be awkward otherwise. Hey man, you're not much of a talker. Definitely don't have him on your podcast.
But you talk to your animals, so you're used to it.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Honestly.
Really?
I would say, to be super sappy, okay. My stepfather passed away when I was 15.
Okay.
And he really inspired me to write, going through that really dark time. And I didn't really know how to handle it, and so I turned to writing, and that's literally when I first started writing. And so I think that talking to him and being like, see what you started? See what you started, would be kind of a really cool conversation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that answer. That's probably the best answer to that question.
Yeah.
Usually it's like Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln.
Well, and George Washington, because I have so many questions about what the heck was going on then. Okay, we gotta talk. Okay, I would be on those too.
Yes, but I like it. I like it. Well, I think you failed, but it's all good. It was a great experience.
Well, you didn't give me a time limit.
I did not. I
Fast
also
is all
didn't.
based on perspective.
That is true. One of these days we're going to put, because I think I used to threaten the guests and say, hey, we're going to put a little timer on the video. You can't see it, but it'll be on the screen. But once we get this sewn down, we'll do all that.
Yeah.
Later, episode
And I'll
150.
just exceed the time limit. I would just look at Josh like I did in radio and be like, we'll play that commercial after the next break too. Longer break next time. We'll just do a longer break next time.
One of my favorite YouTubers always does that. He used to do these 2-minute Tuesdays, and he would give lessons on videography or photography. And it was called 2-Minute Tuesday, but he he would always go over the 2 minutes.
15 minutes,
Yeah.
17 minutes and whatever.
Yeah. But Peter McKinnon, if you ever want to know anything about cameras or just look at some cool photos or videos.
Will he teach me about my iWatch?
He will not.
Oh, but there's a camera on there.
But if you want to know about a
Not.
1940 Ford truck, he can probably help you.
Oh, well, it's not a Chevy, so I'd listen.
Okay.
Can't do Chevys. Sorry, Josh, you don't drive a Chevy, do you?
No,
Okay.
he's a Honda.
Okay, me too. Yeah. They can haul pigs. The CRVs can. Okay. It's multi-purpose.
I buy an American car. I got a Ford, Anyways, I'm sorry. All right. Well, appreciate having you on the
Yeah.
show. I know this was, and I'll fess up. I didn't have an agenda for Michaela today.
I wasn't going to call him out.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
But I had to call myself out because, I have a guilty conscience.
Hopefully there was a takeaway other than Michaela talks to animals. Doolittle over here.
Well, I would say, take inspiration from, don't be afraid of that. You obviously built this career, I guess you can say, from, a hard time or adversity you faced in your life. So I think it's a good takeaway.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's plenty of takeaways, but that's just one I remember because it was the last thing you said.
Honesty is another great takeaway from today's episode.
I can't not be honest.
That's perfect. No filter.
It's bad. Sometimes my wife's like, what in the world? But it happens, you know. But anyways, I'm just honest to my viewers though, because, you know, I tell them that the guests are so they can learn something.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, subscribe, you know.
Do all the things.
All the things that YouTubers say. But no, seriously, this was a great episode. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Josh, for producing.
And laughing at our jokes.
Yes.
We need an audience to feed us. So.
You said it was tough. We got to add a laugh track, because I think everyone's tired of my face and my laugh.
I'm way funnier than people give me credit for. Like,
there it is. I can't help it. I have to lean back.
That's because I'm hilarious.
Well, I don't mean to break this to you, but I laugh at everything.
Just stop.
I literally do, even myself.
Great.
But this was a great show. We got to have you back.
I would love to.
We'll plan episode 135.
We'll get an agenda.
We'll be back. Okay. We'll get an agenda. We'll get an agenda. We'll have some plan so we can have something to fall back on when I go off the rails and talk about Coach Von Kennel or something.
And Josh's door.
Yes, and Josh's door. We got to figure that out though.
I'm very interested
in the summertime, because, you know,
the light hits it differently.
Yeah. We need the warm tones. The actually, it might work in my favor with the cooler tones during the winter. All right. The show will never end. Thank you guys. Continued. Yes, to be continued. Thank you, Subway, for being yourselves and sponsoring this channel and this podcast. Thank you for making this possible. And I will see you sometime this week getting cookies in a melt. But thank you guys. This show will be live Tuesday, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Peace. It feels like Casablanca. Shouting, you my little mama. I got a crib out of water. Say me Casa su casa. It feels like Casablanca. Shouting, you my little mama. She be on that Henny. I like that Corona.